All right, so good evening. I'd like to call the Plainville Planning and Zoning Commission's March. Oh, do you have the new agenda?
I passed it out to you already, but I can give you another copy so you don't know that. Oh no, it's my copy, just a second, it's mine, that's the notes on it.
Good back.
I called, the Plainville Planning and Zoning Commission's March 10, 2026 meeting to order. We're working off a revised agenda effective March 9th. First item on the agenda is roll call, and Tom has an excused absence, and we are just missing Kurt. So we have a quorum. Item number 2, we have public hearing, PZ01/26, number 6 and number 7, special exceptions. We have 220 Norton Place, Alexander Khan, proposed multifamily structure, addition of 3 living units, R10 zone, and request to operate a short-term rental. Let's see if we have applicants.
You're supposed to be here tonight, right?
Yeah, maybe they didn't know where to go though. No sign.
You want to table it?
Yeah, I think we'll table it if they're not here. Someone want to make a motion to table it?
So moved.
Want to hear a second? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries. Moving on to item number 3, unfinished business. We have item number 1, PZ01/26, number 6 and number 7, special exceptions. 220 Norton Place, Alexander Khan. That is going to also coincide with the public hearing, which we need to have, so we're going to leave that exactly where it is. Moving on to item number 4, for new business, we have item number 1, PZ02/26, number 8, special exception, 361 East Street, Megan Associates LLC, establish overall parameters for a PDD number 2, and a public hearing is required. We all got communication from it's pronounced Ty, right? Tyke. So do you want to talk to us a little bit about that, John?
Well, we'll let the applicant, present a kind of a brief overview of the 3, applications that are involved in the PDD, criteria, then there's a zone, I think there's a zone, a regulation change that puts it in the regulations, and then a map change. So I think the first thing would be to have the representative of the applicant just give a brief overview, and then we can quickly go over the comments.
Well, we have to set a public hearing though. That's not till April 14th.
Yes, I mean, that would be the,
So I guess my thought was, Tyke sent the recommendation that the proposed actions are not consistent with the general planning principles for creating a planned development district, and a more consistent option to achieve the goals would be to defer action until the zoning regulations are modified to be consistent with the new housing law, or consider setting the public hearing for the April 14th meeting. So did that feedback get to the applicant?
the applicant has the opportunity to review the comments.
And did they respond?
Not in writing, but verbally they responded. They disagree with some of the statements that Toby made.
So they want to proceed with setting the public hearing?
The applicant is here, you can ask them directly.
Okay. Would someone like to, go ahead.
Some of it's an overlap with time. I don't know if you recall, some of you probably will, but we came to you back in probably August or September on an informal basis with this particular application, which was before the law that was passed that he's talking about. And I've reviewed the law, so it's a lot there. It's over, I think it's over 200 pages, if I'm not mistaken. But it requires the commission to establish zoning districts. It doesn't, I don't think it applies blanket across town. I think it only applies to certain areas that you designate as part of your assignment under the statute. Do you know, John? I mean, we can check
It
that.
was my understanding from discussions with the consultant that all commercial zones, anything allow for housing as a matter of right for 9 units or less. I don't know if that's factually true, if there's some qualifiers in there or not, but that's what they expressed, that's what I understand what they expressed to me. And they currently are working on language for this commission to adopt to comply with the law.
Right. As we just reviewed it on Thursday when we had our CROG meeting. So that was what the presentation was on housing, and that was included in that. Alright, so
But at this point, my client would like to proceed. He's got a vacant building that's sitting there, and so.
sure. And let the record reflect, it's Attorney Golsky.
We have to change the zoning for what we're talking about?
That's one part of it.
Would someone like to make a motion to set the public hearing for April 14th?
So moved.
Second,
And that'll be at 7:30 at the Plainville Municipal Center.
correct.
Any other comments or discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries. And then we're gonna move on to item number two, correct, yeah. Which is PZ02/26, number 9, zoning regulation change, text amendment, 361 East Street, Vig and Associates LLC, establish text to create PDD number 2, new section 3.08 East Street residential zone number 2, public hearing is required. Notification also to CROG and abutting communities with a 35-day review period. And we would need to set a public hearing also for April 14th. Someone like to make a motion?
So moved.
Second,
Any comments or discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries. And moving on to item number 3, PZ02/26, number 10, zoning map change, 361 East Street, Vig and Associates LLC. Revised zoning map to establish a PDD number 2. Public hearing is also required with notification to CROG and abutting communities with a 35-day review period. Would someone like to make a motion for setting that public hearing also for April 14th, 2026?
So moved.
second,
Any further comments or discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstention? Motion carries. Moving on to item number 4, PZ02/26, number 11, zoning regulation change, text amendment, 25 Robert Jackson Way, JAG Property LLC, section 2.02, add 12-8 to permit used car sales, section 2.03, delete existing minimum side and rear yard setbacks and establish new minimum setbacks, section 2.04, revise subsection J to permit used car dealers notification to CROG and abutting communities with a 35-day review period. There were also comments by Taichi. And there was a suggestion to set the public hearing also for April 14th. Would someone like to make a motion to set that public hearing?
So moved.
Do I hear a second?
second,
Any further comment or discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstention? Motion carries. Item number 5, PZ03/26, number 12, special exception, 87 and lot 17A, East Street, 87 East Street, Plainville LLC. Establish overall parameters for a PDD number 3, which requires a public hearing. Do we have a date? Are we ready, or is the staff still
We're
reviewing?
still doing a review.
So we want to keep that just on the agenda, we want to address that.
likely at the next meeting, we'll have a date for, public hearing.
Okay,
Do we have time to, they don't have to accept it tonight, right?
Once accepted automatically, because the acceptance of applications happens at the first regular meeting after.
So that's tonight.
That's tonight,
So it's accepted tonight, it's just not a public hearing.
yeah,
Because I've got to give notice to,
the water companies.
yeah. Because this one, that one's in the aquifer protection zone. But we got time, if you do it the next meeting, which would be, if you do it the next meeting, you'll have to push it out a month, because to give time for the certified notices and stuff.
Yeah.
Right?
Right,
do you know if any activities are gonna be in the aquifer protection area?
It is, that site
And
is,
then we're gonna need, then we possibly will need an aquifer protection meeting,
correct.
okay, just so we are mindful of that also. Alright, so then, let's take a motion to table this one.
So moved.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstention? Motion carries.
right, so, if I may, I've got to send my notice out within 7 days of the acceptance. So when I send it out, I'm gonna just say that a public hearing will be anticipated to be, essentially 6 weeks away, right?
You're looking in May?
The public hearing will be opened on the second meeting in April, or the first meeting in May. One of those 2 days, depending on how the review comes in and what we have to think about.
So I can put either, I'll just put no earlier than the second meeting in April.
Yeah, that's a good way to phrase it.
Yeah.
So that's the 20, okay, no, it's like the
28th.
28th, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the other one's the 14th. Alright, and then we have item number 6, PZ03/26, number 13, zoning regular change, which that's for text amendment 87 and lot 17A East Street, 87 East Street, Plainville LLC. This is establish text to create PDD number 3, new section 3.09 East Broad Street, special zone number 3, public hearing is also required with notification to CROG and abutting communities for the 35-day review period. So tonight we're accepting the application, but we still have the staff doing initial review underway, so we need to table it. Would someone like to make a motion?
So moved.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries. And then we have item number 7, PZ03/26, number 14, 10, zone map change 87 and lot 17A East Street and 87 East Street, Plainville LLC, to revise the zoning map to establish a PDD number 3. This also requires a public hearing, notification to CROG and abutting communities with a 35-day review period. We're effectively accepting it tonight for the application, and we need to also table it as the staff is still continuing to review the application. So would someone like to make a motion to table?
So moved.
Do I hear a second? Any further comments or discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries. Moving on to item number 8, PZ12/22, number 25, establish a site plan bond for 34 Neal Court, Dan Kovalevsky. Establish bond for incomplete site plan requirements for a development at 36 Neal Court. And it, review the site plan bond value and set bond value for incomplete work. And it's looking as it would be $36,875. John, do you want to talk any more about this?
It handed out in your package was the estimate from the contractor provided to us by the general contractor. After reviewing the information provided, the number of 36,875 seems reasonable for the outstanding work, based on a quick overview of what would need to be done. It was a site visit on that.
Okay. Anyone have any questions? No, would someone like to make a motion to set the bond for $36,875 for the site plan? Go ahead.
So moved.
Second.
Any further comments or discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? No abstentions? Motion carries. Moving on to item number 9, PZ 08/24, number 26, establish a site plan bond for 76 Northwest Drive, Coil Pro Machinery Incorporated. Establish a bond for an incomplete site plan requirements for development at 76 Northwest Drive. After reviewing the site plan bond value, it was for incomplete work was $11,825. Same comments, John?
Same comments, I reviewed the amount of work to be done and compared it to the values. It seems reasonable, we did a site visit, and it seems reasonable that this is the remaining work to be done.
Anyone have any questions? Not, would someone like to make a motion to set the bond value at $11,825 for 76 Northwest Drive, Coil Pro Machinery?
So moved.
Second.
Any further comments or discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries. Hang on. All right. And then we have bills and communication are next.
There were no direct communications to you other than the comments from the consultant. There are some applications that you probably expect at the next meeting. There's at least one. There's the church on Camp Street is doing some work within the town of Plainville as part of the renovations to the church. It's pretty straightforward. It's just a little bit of paving, but they're required to provide a plan in your review and your approval. Other than that, April 14th is going to be pretty busy. There's a bunch of public hearings that are going to be taken care of. The last couple weeks have been relatively quiet in regards to applications. So it shouldn't be a burden for the 14th unless something pops up.
Okay. Did anybody else respond for the annual conference? That's the end of the month. That was gonna go for the,
Yeah, I sent that all in. I don't know.
who else is going with me? Anyone?
Kurt's going, Dan's going.
Yeah, I'll
I think
go.
Tom's going.
Did you send it in
I
already?
sent it in. I
Oh.
mean,
Can we add it?
we can add, I guess.
You wanna go?
What is it?
That's the annual conference at the Opera.
That
Yeah,
Aquator.
I'll go.
Yeah,
It's the third, what's the date of that? I
28, I thought it was the 28th. March.
have to look. I think I just
I
put it
thought it was
on my
March
calendar.
28th, yeah.
26th.
26.
So, all right, we'll make an adjustment.
Yeah, so it's the 26th.
Yeah, you can put,
Yeah, I'll
put
go.
me down too.
Well, I think you're already there.
No, I'll be
Oh,
good.
okay.
I'll
You-
check,
you-
so I'll.
yeah,
so
usually I
I'll
go
check.
anyway,
And I'll
yeah.
send out an email tomorrow to confirm who wants to
Yeah.
go.
Are you going or
Okay.
no?
No, I'm not gonna go.
Yeah, and then you send the check out too.
It's already been sent,
Okay, perfect.
and along with your dues.
I gotta go. Jennifer needs a date.
I know, right? Anything else under bills and communications?
No.
And then item number 6 is the minutes from the January 27th, 2026 meeting, which were essentially verbatim
Yeah,
minutes.
they're
Yeah.
quite lengthy because of verbatim.
A long minute. Long minute.
More than that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I did verbatim only because of what was on the agenda.
correct. And there, no other correspondence?
No other correspondence.
Would someone like to make a motion to approve the minutes?
So moved.
I have a second.
Second.
Any comments or corrections?
I wasn't here, but I read it, so.
Okay, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries. Moving on, next to item number 7, planners report.
I have no real report tonight.
No candidates yet.
No, but I understand there's interviews next week, so we'll see.
Okay.
Cross our fingers.
Okay. Then moving on, we've got item number 8. We have a workshop session for a review of the POCD.
Okay. I have a mock-up of the proposed page 63. You can take one and pass it down. We revised the maps. I did send you out an email regarding the map. I took some liberties to add things that maybe we didn't really discuss. I didn't get any feedback in regards to comments. I'm assuming that the liberties that I took were adequate or were acceptable. Basically, the liberties I took, I created a access road on the westerly side of the wetlands to access those parcels in there. It's just a potential roadway there's got to be something that's got to be created to get into that area, no matter what the development is. I took the liberty also to the roadways that were in the PDD to circle around the wetlands, because there's no guarantee that wetlands is going to grant them a permit to cross the wetlands or fill the wetlands. I added in the area that's identified as low density residential, I put or PDD, because we made some discussions in regards to whether or not somebody would have if the development of the first PD was to move forward and be successful, most likely the adjacent property owners would like to probably suggest that they continue that mindset of our development options. I don't know if there's any questions regarding the map. It is a little different. We put a scale on it and we put the standard engineering stuff on it, so it's more like a map than an illustration, but
So, item 5. We talked about whether we wanted that in there or not.
correct. We did talk about it, but we also know that it's unlikely that we would have any leverage to do that particular function, that objective.
Right, so I guess it's still in there as a recommendation or consideration, but we have no say over whether a quarry is gonna stay in operation or not. So to put a statement like encourage or require the submission of a closure plan for quarry operation,
That means 40 years from now? In your mind, or?
I guess that's the question, is that like, at the end of
Useful life?
Yeah.
useful life, is that, a closure plan at some point in time? And I can see it, but it might be misinterpreted
Yeah, it's misleading.
in the here and now, and that I guess is my concern for transparency, because we like to be transparent.
You know, I would either take it out or add that statement at the end of its useful life as a quarry.
I kind of like that.
If we
the end of
we gotta
its-
keep it in, that makes more sense.
At the end of its life as a quarry.
Would you be open to some language that would say, as the quarry proceeds, sections might be closed in kind of
Stages?
Stages?
Yeah,
So encourage the quarry to be closed in stages.
yeah.
And I don't know how you want the other language to.
I'm not an expert on that, I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm not gonna tell you I totally understand how they would proceed with stages of closing a quarry.
Well, the one chunk is
Yeah, I
not done,
understand,
and
I
then,
understand the physicality of it, but I don't understand if whoever it is, Tilcon or whoever buys them out,
Yeah,
how they would approach that. So
Well, I
does
mean-
that tie their hands?
They would approach it in the sense that if you expanded your quarry out, you don't necessarily expand out kind of radially, you expand over here, and then when you're done there, you might expand over here. It would be, the closure of sections would be contingent upon how they mine the rock.
well, kind of like when they do the annual quarry review, and it's like a little bit here and a little bit here.
You know,
It's the same thing of how they proceed, but it's also gonna be the same thing of when they're gonna close chunks of it,
But if
no
you
longer
re-
mine.
If you recall on the other quarry on the south side, they've told you, it told you that we're done over here.
Right.
Um,
And they do
some-
plantings or
some
whatever they're
language
doing
could
to
be written
stabilize
in
it.
such a way that if they make those kinds of statements, that you are gonna impress upon them to begin the closure at least as much as can be happening in that section. Or you leave, or we work the language some other way, like Glenn said, but upon the retirement or completion of the quarrying operation. Maybe you start with upon the completion of the quarrying operation, the town shall encourage the quarry be closed expeditiously or whatever.
I'm not against that, you know, like I said, I think what Jennifer said is a little misleading the way it's stated there, like there's hope that the quarry may close next week.
Right.
And, you know, and I'm not saying what Tilcon will do, I have no idea, but I have a feeling they're not closing next week or next year or 2 years from now.
No, it's a long-term project.
Yeah,
I mean, they wouldn't invest the money that
that's
you-
what I mean,
Yeah.
so I don't think I'd leave it open-ended like it is there, because I think it leaves,
Too much for people to assume.
Right. Right, so I think we somehow have to come up with the right verbiage for that. At the end of its useful life and may occur in stages. I kind of like that.
Or at the exhaustion of its usefulness. However you want to word it.
Give me some help on how you want to word it, and I'll have it changed.
No, at the end of its useful life and closed in
It may occur in stages.
stages.
Okay.
That good?
that's, yeah,
Mhm.
I
It's
think that's
simple,
more
plain,
clear.
straightforward.
Yeah, it gives it clarity.
Good, John?
Let me just see what you think about this.
The Quinnipiac River is not on this drawing, right?
No, I don't. All right, so I have at the end of the quarry's useful life, the quarry will be closed in accordance with the regulations. And then this may occur this closure may occur in stages.
Good.
So I will fine tune that and incorporate that as a change.
Number 5, yeah.
Number 5. Now I eliminated the one statement that was part of the
Right, so
number 1.
under recommendations, number 1 is gone and number 2 became number 1.
Yeah, and number 2 was revised. There's some language in there to may be considered or something. like that.
The approach may be considered for remaining technology zone and adjacent residential land to the northwest quadrant. Yeah, that sounds good.
Okay.
When you put in all of the colors on here,
Yeah, well, that's what we're working on. That's where
we're gonna have
Word's
to.
not cooperating with us.
The what is it?
Word is not cooperating
No.
with us.
So the blue, like the turquoise blue. What is that? Is that the key open?
Key open space areas.
areas? This blue?
Yeah, it'd be the wetland areas. Yeah.
Wetlands, right?
Oh, that's wetlands.
That's wetlands, but that's the key open space areas.
Alright, so you might wanna write that, well, it's tiny. Maybe off to the side somewhere.
Okay, so you want me to put it out in the background up above the,
Yeah, maybe so it's not so much, like with the, yeah. Cause I mean, is this background's gonna be so dark?
unfortunately, it's a photograph, it becomes difficult to make it lighter.
Right,
And then it gets even darker when you make copies.
right. Alright.
I mean, we could put the notes in the color of the area, like for
Yeah,
instance.
so like put that
blue,
color blue and then what it
blue,
means.
And what it means.
Yeah, I think like in a little
Yeah.
table, that might be easier.
All right, we'll try that.
And then the red, is that ridgeline?
That's ridgeline.
Okay. Because then it's hard to see that existing quarry zone boundary, just because there's so many colors there.
Yeah,
It's so dark,
Yeah, that, it's a darker blue.
we can work on trying to make the background lighter.
lighter, yeah. The existing POD is on there, because that was changed from proposed to existing, because
Yeah,
that was approved. And then the verbiage changed to low density residential or POD.
PD,
Oh, PDD, I can't read it that small, PDD.
I mean, the other way to do it would be to create a one page that's behind this and have a map
Oh, yeah, with the overlay.
overlay.
That's how it used to be.
That might not be a bad idea.
And the other, when the plan before that, so it was like the map was there and then you had a clear sheet that had all the colors and then it came down on top of it.
Okay, I mean, I was thinking maybe just to take this illustration and make it its own page so that it was a full-size page.
Then you have to renumber
And
it.
renumber the pages, but that's not necessarily the biggest problem I know of.
Right.
It was in the past, but. I
Or
think
do
that-
like 63A or something
Yeah.
like that, so that we don't change the other
Yeah.
numbers.
We could do that too.
Or
If
63A
that's,
and
we
B.
could try that. I can try to
That-
create a new page with the full size.
That might make it easier to
Yeah.
see. Okay, and then the development constraints on the right are the
They're
same.
the same.
All of that stuff is the same. So now the amendments are going, everything that's an amendment
Is in purple.
is gonna be in purple. Okay. So then I know this is in blue right
Yeah,
here,
I'm
but
gonna-
then that one will have to be,
We'll fix it up so that it's rather than just the lettering highlighted, the whole box is highlighted, the whole box is shaded.
okay,
It'll be a lot lighter color, like what's already in the document.
okay. And then you'll have the date that it was. So not everything in here has changed, so it's only gonna be the certain, so like item 5, we changed the verbiage, and then we need to change down here, cause we eliminated 1 and we changed this one to 1.
Yeah, that
But
begs the,
then these amendments have to get also in purple.
you know,
Okay.
it begs the question, do you want me to put the new text regarding the closure of the quarry back in this recommended approach of April 2026 amendment and then renumber them up above? Or do you want me to just to put the purple in above?
Just put the purple in above.
Okay,
I think it's easier
Alright.
and easier to follow if you're looking at one plan than the next plan.
okay.
Can you just read what you have for number 5 again? Just so I
All
have
right.
it in my head straight.
At the end of the quarry's useful life, the quarry will be closed in accordance with the regulations. I'll put zoning regulations.
Okay.
And then it said, then it would be, there was a sentence, this may occur in stages. The closure may occur in stages.
Okay.
Okay. Alright, so is there anything else we need on 63?
Um,
You know, would it be helpful for you to, if you want, I could ask them to tell you how they've closed other quarries? Because certainly they must have done it in other areas.
I mean, I don't know if we need to know the details.
It might change 40 years down the line.
Right.
And it
That's
might,
the
it
neat
might be
thing
quarry
about it, is
specific
that-
too.
Is that, you know, when technology changes, you know, it could be a solar farm, it could be a power plant.
Be a number of things.
They ever bring gas into Connecticut, it could be you're in the center of the state, you know.
Do they have to bring us a closure plan for the South Quarry?
Yeah,
They will be presenting you a closure plan within the next 10 years.
yeah.
So maybe when we redo the POCD the next time, we add something in related to more specifics.
Okay.
Versus doing it now, because maybe we can have that dialogue to ask for input as to how what the normal proceeding is.
Yeah.
And then we can include that, make sure our regulations have that in there.
I mean, your regulations for quarry zone is pretty thin.
Right, that's what I'm saying, we can enhance that.
That might be a topic of enhancement in the future, whether it's actually put in a plan of development in the future, or whether you just decide that, you know what, this section needs a little bit more oomph in regards to direction and how we handle quarries. I mean,
Right.
you actually describe earth removal operations in all other zones more in depth than you do in the zone that you would expect it to happen. And that was one of the big issues with the Plainville residents group, was that they were trying to connect the earth removal requirements with the quarry zone. The quarry zone has about probably one paragraph and maybe 5 conditions, and the other one has like 2 pages of requirements. Granted, prior to recently, no one ever made a big deal about the quarry zone. I mean, at least at your level, they made a big deal in regards to blasting and noise and that kind of stuff, but it was always at the staff level and the fire marshal level.
Do we need to revisit page 54 again then, because we made these changes to item number 5, because it talks about item number 3, under recommended approach, consider reducing the quarry industrial zone to that area which has been quarried except as may be needed for implementing an appropriate quarry closure plan.
Well, here again, that's really not something that is probably in your powers to do. I mean, quarry land is very valuable, whether it's owned by Tilcon or anybody else that sees fit to purchase it from Tilcon. I mean, that material is worth millions of dollars. They're not just gonna hand it over to anybody without being compensated for it. So, I mean, the reality of it is that they're gonna quarry out to the very end of what they legally can do before they even think about, reuse and all that.
Right, but I guess that's my point then, because we're not gonna tell them to reduce it. They're gonna decide when it's no longer useful that they're gonna eliminate active areas.
Yeah.
And so do we need to do something about this number 3? To make it more similar to the number 5.
Well, I mean, we could put almost the same language in there if you think that's appropriate.
I do. Because this section's talking about economic opportunities.
Yeah,
And so that's an economic opportunity. And so I feel like we need to have consistency in the verbiage so that it's very clear.
Okay, well, I'll
So,
insert that as a recommendation in that when I work on number 9. That's next month's project.
number 5, page 6. All right, and then you had also mentioned a couple of other sections.
Yes.
Do you have them?
I have a handout of the existing. This is the existing language for guide and management. It's the last page, guide and management residential development. And it was brought to our attention that specifically number 4 and number 5 are somewhat not in line with the adoption of the PDD. And as a result of that, I've taken a look at it, and I've created some new language that you might want to consider to incorporate into this.
You've been busy, John.
You know,
Hey, it's 24 hours in a day, he's been using it.
You've been sleeping.
So on this handout, everything that's in black, that's the existing language. And everything in red, that's what I'm proposing or I'm suggesting you might want to consider. We've used a little bit softer language. For instance, consider is being used rather than the wording, the original wording. There's some, we can go over the A. Okay, A basically is, they're suggesting in the current plan of development that you develop an R80 zone, which would be brand new to the town. That's basically 2-acre zoning. And that's the result of the fact that, generally speaking, sanitary sewers isn't available. So therefore, you need larger lot sizes to accommodate sanitary sewers, septic systems. So what I've done is I said, consider creating a new R80 zone, and then it's the same language, as part of an open space subdivision concept. So, you've got notes in there in regards to you want to save or conserve vulnerable or sensitive environmental areas. So I've tried to incorporate that into the R80, the new R80 text. And then I added as an alternate, development plan, consider a PDD which incorporates an open space development provisions and is consistent
That
or
was next door. I'm so sorry, I'm Lisa Khan.
or enhances the development objectives of the adjacent approved PDD, Planned Development District, North Mountain Road, number 1. And that goes along with the thinking that if the first PDD 1, if it's successful, the adjacent landowners are going to want to continue that type of concept, or may want to consider it. And the town may want to consider it. A residential land is valuable in its own right, but a mixed use concept that is being proposed for PD 1, that has more value to the town. It has all three components. It has the industrial component, it has the commercial component, and it has the residential component. So, you might want a 400 acre PDD up there, or 2 PDDs that total 400 acres. So that's the language I suggested that maybe you want to think about.
Anyone have any questions or comments?
When you say we, are you bouncing this off the consultants, people?
No, this is my, this is,
Just you.
this is
So
my,
it's not,
this
it's
is-
fine, I'm
this
just
is my
wondering.
thoughts.
Okay,
I come from understand that I come from a different perspective than typical planners. I'm looking at this more from an engineering standpoint than anything else. And planners look at it from, I don't know, sometimes they're more of a dreamer than you'd want them to be.
no, I'm fine with that, just was wondering, I thought maybe you were consulting with,
No, this is on me.
okay.
So if you disagree, that's fine too. I'm not gonna take any objections to it. So, moving on, if there's no other comments in that, and you can digest this. I know I didn't provide this prior to the meeting, so we can come back to it next meeting and iron it out. You can throw it away if you want, if you think it's best to throw it away. And then the next item is to reconsider rezoning areas within the northeast and southeast quadrants to where sanitary sewers services limited. That's a fact. It's going to be large residential only because sanitary sewer isn't available. If sanitary sewer for whatever reason gets there, R80 is not going to work in Plainville. The density is way too thin for Plainville. Unless you have different opinion on that, but I think that to try to sell an R80 zone would be difficult to sell. And then the last one, I eliminated residential and just put development. And then moving on to number 5, these are kind of just blanket statements from in regards to cleaning up your regulations and your maps and all. It's kind of a housekeeping thing. It says consider amending. It's basically language would be changed to consider amending as needs arise. It says arises, but it should be arise. The zoning regulations to address pertinent residential development constraints. I don't know. And then it goes beyond that. It goes analyze the actual required lot sizes and densities to address nonconformities. I don't know where this came from. I'm guessing that somewhere down the line, somebody had a question in regards to what is a story. Is a story 10 feet? Is it 25 feet? Whatever. But there's a statement in there to define what the story is. That's kind of a basic. It's really not a thinking thing. It's you either do it or you don't do it. I don't even know if there's a definitive building definition for what the height of a story is. But that, I broke up the one, I broke up B to B and C. And then review and consider modifications to building heights requirements in residential districts to address present and future need for housing units and avoid creating non-conforming residential structures. I don't know what the big push was on heights. I mean,
Yeah.
but I'm just trying to allow for a little more wiggle room for you. And then the next one is in regard to minimum square footages for living units. There's a health code for that. I don't think your regulations will ever go below the health code. But I mean, I think you'll be consistent with the health code, whatever it happens to be, whether it's 400 square feet, 500 square feet, or whatever. And then the last one is to review open space development provisions in the zoning regulations to ensure they balance the need for conserving sensitive environmental areas and the need for responsible development. I don't know but you guys can think about this over the next couple of weeks, and if you want to send me an email if you strongly feel one way or the other on this, I'll be more than happy to accept that and revise whatever.
Just one question, John. With the sanitary sewers, is it an engineering thing or a money thing? In your.
Well, it's not, understand from an engineering perspective, I can do anything. It's just a matter of how much it's gonna
It
cost.
costs too much.
Yeah.
So you're saying it's too expensive to bring sanitary sewers at this point to certain parts of.
Well, I mean, if you were looking at the northwest and the southwest quadrants, the northeast quadrant, I mean, and the southeast, the southwest quadrant, with the PDD that you approved, that makes it more viable. There's more money, there's more economic engine there to bring sewers for that project. If you bring it to that project, it's probably more feasible to bring it to the whole area. Whereas on Ledge Road, I doubt very much Ledge Road will ever get sewers. There's not enough
Units.
oomph there to get it, to pay for what it's gonna cost you to get there. So,
I just want to understand it.
now this was brought up to us at one of our subcommittee meetings by the public. These two sections. They didn't give me any guidance on what we should say, but they said you need to really look at 4 and 5.
Okay.
And so you can look at that over the next couple weeks and give me feedback, and we can hopefully at the end of next meeting we can wrap up chapter 10. And then we'll start picking at chapter 9. I don't think chapter 9 is going to be very difficult. I mean, it's mostly just making it consistent with chapter 10, and going from that point. And then if we get through chapter 9 and 10, then you guys can make a decision whether you want to review any other sections or whether you want to start the process to formally revise your POCD.
We're gonna do them all at once,
And do them all at once.
because of the printing, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
Okay.
Plus, there's a lot of lag time in there. If you want to start, if you have questions on any other chapters, we could go through that. Hopefully within the next 18 months, you'll be beginning the process to do this whole thing over again. Whether you want to live with the format you have or whether you want to create a new format, that's up for debate.
Okay.
I mean,
I think it's always been this, correct me if I'm wrong, kind of the style of whoever we've had for the consultant, because if you look at the past 3, say, POCDs, the style is very different, the flow is different. Some I think are more user-friendly than others. And both from a attorney standpoint, engineering standpoint, from an applicant versus a lay person coming in for something more simple, somehow that language, as well as a working document for all of us and staff, we have to find a happy medium on all of that, I think. Because I don't know that the way it is right now flows as well as I think you originally thought it might.
Well, I mean, if you were to stay, one of the advantages of staying with the format you have is that you can sit down and go chapter by chapter with the consultant, with staff, and yourself, and understand, when you have a consultant that does a new format, he's just gonna throw a bunch of stuff at you.
Right.
And you're gonna get back in that same boat where you spend maybe 2 hours and your head spins after 2 hours because you talked about so many different subjects. Whereas if you stay with the current format, you can spend, say, a month on each chapter. And you can go word for word, I like this, I wanna add this sentence, or I wanna do this. And then you send the consultant out, and he does this thing, and then he comes back with what he thinks is what your ideas were, and then, you guys can debate it further and iron out all the differences. And then, once you finish that, you move on to the next chapter, and you work, so there's some advantages. There might be some disadvantages with this format. I'm not as familiar maybe with the whole book as you are. I'm just really concentrated on chapter 9s and 10s. I'm trying to get through that.
Hot spots. Anybody else have anything to add at this point?
Nope.
So we'll look at that additional info. And then, all right, so our applicant for our public hearing for item number 2 was in the wrong meeting room, correct?
That's true, that's the bonehead over here, yes.
All right, so do we want to pull that off the table and
So moved.
revisit item 2?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstention? Motion carries. So, item number 2, we have a public hearing for PZ 01/26, number 6 and number 7 special exceptions. 2 in parentheses, 20 Norton Place, Alexander Khan, proposed multifamily structure, addition of 3 living units, R10 zone, and a request to operate a short-term rental unit. So,
That's true.
if you can just state your name and address for the record, if you'd like to give us a brief
Sure.
presentation.
So I'm Lisa Khan, I'm Alex's mom. Alex is deployed in the Navy, so he's not here tonight. He came to the last meeting a month ago, but he's off now. So I'm here, we own the property together, 20 Norton Place, which I don't know if everybody has a long history in Plainville or not. I personally didn't, but I guess when I bought it, the previous owner told me it used to be the Plainville Creamery. Did anybody know that? 20 Norton Place? Okay, yeah, it was the Plainville Creamery. I guess the creamery was in the basement. So the upper part of the house is a duplex. It's 2 side-by-side units. And then when you walk around, and also the property is set on 2.5 acres. So when I first bought the property, I came in and I talked to Mark DeVoe. This is going back some time, back when he was still here, but right before he left. And he said to me, you'd be wise. He just gave me this advice. He said, you'd be wise to get a survey of that property because that property is fairly large. He knew the property himself. He said it's fairly large and you could probably do, an extra unit or so or more in the basement because as it was coming on itself up. But when you walk around to the back, the unit is side by side. When you walk around to the back, it has a huge basement, which is where I think the creamery was because it still has the old sink and all that stuff. And it's all brick. So, and it's like 16-foot ceilings, like very high ceilings for a basement, like very odd. But the way the land is sloped, it's all sloped to the woods in the back. So I looked at the basement. So I came in and I said to Mark, I said, I'm thinking about putting a unit in the basement. He said, you should. He said it'd be a good investment for you to get a full size survey. He said to see how many units you can put down there because I think you got a good amount of acreage. And he said, I don't think there's as much wetlands as what the town plot plan shows. I had no idea. So I went out and I hired the soil scientist and a surveyor. They all came out to 20 Norton Place and turned out I did have less wetlands than the plot plan showed. And he said I had enough uplands or non-wetlands to do to make 3 kind of micro unit studio apartments in the basement. Basement's big because it's as I said, the house is side by side 2 units. The basement spans both the units. The units are fairly sizable. They're each 2 bedrooms. So he was suggesting to cut the basement into 3 sections and do studio apartments. The only hiccup to that was that I had to have proper parking. So then we had to go back out and revisit this. So we hired an engineering company and we came up with a parking plan. Parking plan was per the suggestion of, I don't think it was you, but somebody that I came in and talked to the town, it was after Mark DeVoe though. Maybe Evan, but he gave me, what he thought would be best for the town's purposes, the type of parking. So I passed on that advice to my engineer, and he designed the parking with that in mind. So we have 7 parking spaces now. The only other small hiccup, if I'll be completely transparent with this plan, is that if you guys are all familiar with Norton Place also has like a trash, facility at the very end of it. So we do have like a lot of like trucks that kind of come around the corner there. So parking is very key. So when I first bought the house, there was no parking signs outside. So I thought you could, like any place, really park in the street in front of your house. Usually, you know, if you own a home, you can park on the street in front of your house without issue. This home is not that way, because I guess the way that trucks come around the corner there, it's a danger zone if there's parking on the street. So I think the parking is, you know, probably the biggest, you know, impediment to this whole thing. So our structure on our house is not changing, we're not adding any square footage to our house. The house is not gonna be expanding in any stretch at all. No, footprint change.
So you're adding formal parking,
I'm adding formal parking, yes.
6 space, 7 space,
I'm adding 7, yeah.
any handicap?
They're all sort of handicapped in the sense that they're, well, at least the first 6 are, because they're all like right against the house in that way, and then there's, you know, you get out, you can walk directly up to the home. The home does have 3 steps up to it. But I'd say all 6 of those spaces are probably qualify as
Right,
handicap.
but there's no way for a wheelchair to get in.
But that predated this.
No, I'm just
Yeah.
asking the question.
Yeah, yes. Actually, to the basement units, there would be, because you can just, the basement's almost like a ramp down, you just walk down along the glass down there. And then there's no steps up to the basement units. So this basement units would all 3 be handicap accessible.
Do each of the basement units have windows?
Yes, they do.
Okay. And each unit has the same entrance and exit, or is there multiple exits?
No, there's, each one has their own entrance.
Okay.
The only thing that's shared between them is gonna be like a mechanical room and a laundry room.
They have their own bathrooms.
And I think over 3 units you need a fire system, right? Or is it because it's existing?
I'm not familiar with the building code and the fire code, but, that's really outside your purview.
Yeah.
I mean, the building official and the fire marshal will ensure that, what's being built in the interior meets the codes. That goes along with accessibility requirements. And, I mean, I'm fairly certain that there's a requirement that a hard surface be, put so that they can access the doors. And it's not only for accessibility, it's for fire escape and those kinds of things.
And the intent is actually really to bring affordable housing in, because each unit is small, studio apartments. It really makes for a nice space for somebody to live in Plainville. It would be like within the center of Plainville without it being a monthly rent that breaks your budget. So that was something we're proud to offer, and
Are they like 500 square foot studio?
they're probably about 400 to 500, yeah.
But they're short-term rental.
No, they're not. They are not short-term rentals at all. Those are month or longer rentals. Say somebody's coming in to work here, you know, whatever, for the summer or something. I get a lot of student people who come to this area to be, you know, work at the Yukon Health Center, doing a rotation for the summer, things like that. They're not short-term, but they're not necessarily here for like 5 years either. Probably like between like 6 months to a year.
So you have 3 that are living units that are regular, and
4.
one short-term.
Actually, I have 4. There'll be, at the end of the day, if this project comes to my vision, there'll be 3 long-term rentals down below.
Yeah.
Studio apartments, the affordable type of housing I'm talking about. Up top, I have 2 side-by-side units. One on the left side, where the farmer, or the woman I bought it from also used to live, is the left side. And then the right side of the house, before I bought it, her like grandchildren lived on that side. The right side of the house is a long-term tenant. They've been there. I have a husband and wife in their 70s, and they've been there for about 8 months now.
Right, but your application is for one short-term rental unit.
The left side, if you're looking at the main.
Okay, so
side by
that's
side, yeah.
designated as a short-term unit.
Yes,
Okay,
and
that's what I'm trying to clarify.
yeah, and also to completely transparent with you, before I even, and I've already confessed this once, but when I read the town code, I read it that you could have, if you had multifamily in Plainville, one could be short-term rental and none others. And that's the way I have always abided. I've just done it that way because that just was what worked for me anyway. Because I had a marketability for the second unit long-term, so I always rented the second unit out long-term. In other words, Norton Place has unit 1 now and unit 2. I'll eventually hope I have 3, 4, and 5, but it has 1 and 2 right now. 1 has always been short-term rental since I bought it. I'll be honest about that. The second one has always been long-term since I bought it. I didn't know I had to come to a meeting to ask to do
Right,
that.
right.
I just read it that that's what you could do.
So you're looking to comply.
Yes, I'm looking to comply.
What's the limits on the short term? I know it's in
I think you can
there.
have
Well, I
one.
gave you a copy of the regulations, from what I can interpret from the regulations, short term is less than 30 days. It has to have the same requirements as a long-term, rental. The main concern is that each dwelling can only have one. And then there's some requirements if you were to have a single-family house and create that accessory apartment type situation, but that doesn't apply here. And this is a multi-unit, building, with or without the 3. It's a multi-unit building. They're entitled to, or by right, they can have 1 by special exception. That special exception, I guess the considerations are ensure enough parking, ensure proper entrances and exits, that kind of stuff.
How long have you owned it? Well, the reason why I'm asking, because in the spring, we always got flooding in that area. Have you ever been bothered by, does the water come up that high enough to affect?
Never at all. I mean,
Never?
it's funny you say that. I've owned it since July of 2024. So for the seasons have passed. And as I said, when I bought it, I looked at the site plan map. It did look like we had a lot of wetlands. I came to Mark DeVoe and he said, "I bet you have a lot less wetlands than they said." And I was like, I still don't to this day don't know why he said that. Had a soil scientist come out, and we have a lot of woods around us too. So I think all of the wetlands or if there's murky at all, it's in the way back in the forest. But to be honest, even if you walk out into the forest, it's not like my personal home is in West Hartford on the Rock Ledge Golf Course. That's wetlands. That's very wet. If I walk out there now, it's sinking this. This is not mucky or muddy out there. I don't know why.
No, the only reason, because I used to live on the opposite side on Robert Street.
Oh, I know where that is.
And
Yeah.
every spring, it would flood, and it's a floodland.
Oh, that's so
That
funny.
whole
Yeah.
area is, I would say wetland,
Yeah.
Well, you know that wetlands in Connecticut is based on soil types, not based on water, but soil.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what the soil scientist said exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, it's wet there as in general, there's ponding water, I mean, and given different circumstances, you're correct that those parcels have flooded. One of the main reasons is at times we have issues with beavers, and beavers plug up the culverts and all the water backs up, and before we know it, there's a problem and we don't really respond until the problem exists, so.
I think our engineering plan also proposed like a bunch of swales and stones to kind of just make sure that the water stays going in the direction it's supposed to be going in, that it's already going in now, which is down to that wooded area.
So technically then the parking's all in the frontage? Or is this in the side
It
yard?
looks like
It's
this
the,
side.
it's the side, it's like, well, right now, when you go into Norton Place right now, the driveway's on the side. And that driveway won't really be there anymore, so I'll show you where the driveway currently is. Driveway currently is probably like right, maybe here. And so we're expanding this and making 3 spaces here, 3 here, and the final one there. So it's kind of on the side, yes, the basement, when you get to that basement, you mentioned handicap parking,
So
this
this
could
is
be your basement.
technically your frontage? Where's your front of the house?
No, over here.
It's an odd configuration.
Right, So then, they're gonna be parking in the side yard.
Well, in residential zones, you're allowed to park in
Yeah.
the side yard.
This currently is where our driveway is, yeah, because in the front it would be we'd be over here.
Is there a spot for overflow parking? You said that you had no parking signs put up on, not you, but the town put no parking signs on the street. So if you have 5 units, yeah, you could possibly have 10 cars. And you have 7 spots.
Well, I think that's the
And I don't know
way,
what's required.
The
It's just all-
requirement, the minimum number of parking spots for the number of units and types of units, it's 7.
And I get that, but you know, being in the business for so long,
Yeah,
I
Right.
realize that, but
people are funny.
I mean,
I agree, and that is an issue there, and they're,
How many does the couple have? Do they have 1 car or 2? That are there
they have
now?
2.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. And
So you're gonna be
the short-term one
insufficient.
may have 2 if it's a
The
couple.
short term is studio apartments, so there's only gonna be, and I'm only gonna allow 1 person in each apartment,
And I get that, but
so they really wouldn't have 2.
unless you're gonna be very vigilant and fight them a lot, you're gonna find out that they moved the girlfriend in or the boyfriend
Yeah.
in. And I'm just saying, so if they did, or if there's a visitor, where can they park?
They'd have to park them, they'd have to then do, like, park themselves and share their key and park themselves in.
I mean, if they meet the requirements, they do. I'm just, you know,
yeah, the
I just know
requirement-
from experience
the
that no
requirement
one.
is 7 spots, and you're correct. The requirements have been adjusted for guests and multiple numbers, but they're probably not adequate for every situation.
And I get that, so I'm not saying I'm
Yeah.
against it. I just from experience, and I know that the thinking in Hartford is no parking. You know, let them all find their own parking.
So then the
Is it-
amount
Or
of,
what do you mean, in Hartford? I didn't
I
know
mean, the overall zoning that some of the people want to do in Hartford
Yeah.
is that we cut back on our parking requirements in every zone. I mean, it hasn't happened totally, but that's what they want.
The way it's worked for me now, and I'm not saying this is gonna continue in the future, but my neighbor, if you're looking at 20 Norton Place, the neighbor to the left is a very, very, very nice individual, and he, because we can't park on the street, he has 2 driveways in his, so he always tells if I have a contractor coming, he always says, oh, you guys can park in mine.
Yeah.
So
Like I said, if
we've
you
had
meet the
that.
requirements, you meet the requirements. I'm just saying, as a practicality,
Well, I mean, as a fallback, if there's an issue with parking, they can expand on that side,
The front,
the front, well, whatever that's called, the side, front, whatever, along, they can add maybe a parking spot or 2.
yeah,
or-
because I'm not looking to throw a wrinkle in. I know practicality of, you know, of
appreciate it.
how my tenants are, how
Yeah.
they, you know, all of a sudden.
Oh, yeah, just one.
All of a sudden, all of a sudden, one guy has 3 cars, you know, and this one sort of runs, and this one doesn't sort of run.
Yeah,
And it's hard to fight them, is all I'm saying.
Yeah.
You know, you think you have a lot of control, but
good
are we
point,
gonna be
yeah.
okay with the runoff if there's this much more impervious surface?
The calculations work out with it.
Okay. Are you having a dumpster?
When we do the construction?
No, in general, because that's a lot of people.
Well, right now, oddly enough, we have 8 trash barrels.
Okay, that's what I was.
Yeah.
Okay,
I didn't even ask for them, I just happen to have them.
okay.
That's the way Dawn, the woman before me, had it all set up.
right next door to the guys, so you're all set.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Right
you can wheel them there.
now. Okay, anybody else have any other questions? There's no one here from the public to speak? Public hearing?
I did bring my affidavit and 2 affidavits, I guess.
Okay. John. All right, so we can open public hearing formally, but there's no one here to speak unless Deb wants to speak. And then, I don't see a reason to keep the public hearing open. All right, so we'll close that. We can move on to unfinished business, which is item number 3, which is PZ01/26, number 6 and 7, special exception. 2, in parentheses, 20 Norton Place, Alexander Khan, proposed multifamily structure, addition of 3 living units, R10 zone, and request to operate a short-term rental unit. We just had our public hearing,
You need
and
2 motions or just 1?
2 motions would be appropriate, because there's gonna be 2 special exceptions.
Yes, that's what I
one
thought.
would be the special exception to add the 3 living units, the property known as 20 Norton Place.
So moved, Madam Chairman.
Second,
Do we have any other comments or discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries. And then the next motion would be, to approve a special exception to allow one short-term rental unit for property known as 20 Morton Place.
So moved.
Second.
Any further comments or discussion?
Now, we don't have to limit the time, it's in regulation, no more than 30 days, correct?
Right.
Okay.
Okay, anything else? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries. Thank you. And you can give all that stuff.
Okay, thank you.
Good luck.
Thank you so much, everybody.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
Yeah, okay, well, can we take care of that tomorrow?
Sure. I'm just gonna trust you and check for the time of Plainville, and you can fill it in as you need to, I'll sign it, okay?
I would prefer.
Not to?
Not to.
Okay, alright, that's fine.
I've been trying, he's already overpaid once, and so last time I came in, I double paid, and so I had a little credit going over.
The last check was made up to John Bossy.
That's not how we work here.
Oh, I'm sorry. That was a joke. For the
I know it was a joke for the
Yeah,
record.
for the record.
I actually don't know, like, from here, because I haven't done this before, like, so what do I do? What's my next town steps from here?
The next step is that you're gonna file, we're gonna get that map stamped, and you're gonna, the chairman's gonna sign it.
Okay.
You're gonna have that filed, and then you're gonna get 2 certificates of special exception,
Okay,
and both of those gotta get filed.
filed with
In
the
the
town clerk's here?
office.
Okay, so I just come down and file those.
So when we get everything together, we'll,
Okay,
I'll notify you.
so I should be expecting mail to my home mail?
Yes,
Okay,
or an email if that's
Okay.
convenient.
that's fine, yeah, it's perfect. Okay, thank you, everyone.
You're welcome.
Yeah, thanks.
Good night.
Okay, good night.
Good night. Thanks for
Thank your
checking.
son for his service.
Thank you all.
I will.
Please see. All right, so then we can move on to item number 9. Someone want to make a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
We have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
One, how do you know?
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Or can you talk?
No.
Motion carries. Thank you, everyone.